When it feels like that you're dying, when you feel that all the doors have got shut on your face, when you feel that there is no solution left for your problems, when you can't just breathe, and when it feels like that there is no purpose left for you in this world, that's the time, my dear friends, I want you to breathe. Because if you breathe in that particular moment and overcome all your fears and hurdles of your life, that's the time you will become unstoppable. Hi everyone, good afternoon, Jai Hind. I'm Captain Ritu Singh and I've served in the Indian Army as an officer. Well, I served in the Judge Advocate General's branch of the Indian Army. So those of you who don't know what is Judge Advocate General's branch, well, it is a legal branch of the Army. So the officers at the JAG branch handle all the legal cases of Army, and we also do court martials and help in punishing the perpetual offenders serving in Army. At the same time, we handle all the civil cases of Indian Army in all the civil courts. Well, it might sound very lucrative, but let me tell you, no matter which branch you are serving in, you still have to undergo the tough military training. Because if you want to become an officer in the Indian Army, you need to be physically and mentally strong enough to handle all the challenges you're going to face ahead. While I served as a legal officer, I was also sent on an infantry attachment in the Uri sector. And I have closely seen how the infantry works. The Pakistan border was just in front of me, and luckily I was amongst the few batch of lady officers who was sent there for doing the infantry attachment. Well, I was never this strong, confident and fearless. I'm often asked that, Ritu, how do we become confident and fearless like you are? And I always say that I have unknowingly and knowingly sometimes have exposed myself to uncomfortable situations. So confidence is not inbuilt. You're not born with confidence, but it comes with exposure. So when you expose yourself to uncomfortable situations, that's the time that confidence builds in. So I was very scared of makeup. I was very scared of fashion, dressing up, because I was born in a village. So I participated in Mrs. India, just like that. And it helped me build up that confidence. I was scared of running because I literally used to huff and puff even after running 100 meters. And I dared to join Indian Army, where I literally ran for 25 kilometers with a backpack on my shoulders. So let me take you back a little bit into my past. So I want you to imagine 36 years back. Now you all know my age also. I was born in a small village called Nawada Ko of district Faridabad. I was born in a traditional and conservative Gujjar family. So those of you who are from Delhi NCR, you know how Gujjar community is. I'm sure a lot of you know about that, right? So my family was very loving. My grandparents and parents loved me so much that in fact my brother was literally jealous of the fact that they loved me more than him. But no matter how loving they were, there was this hint of conservativeness. And I was always told that just because I'm a girl, I'm not supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to wear this. I'm not supposed to wear that. All the girls in my community, 36 years back, situations have now definitely improved, got married at the age of 16 and 18 years. And there was this constant pressure on my head to get married as soon as possible. But there was this angel in my life, my grandfather, who in spite of his age was a progressive thinker. So whenever they say that behind a successful man there is a woman, I always say that behind a successful woman there is a progressive man. And my grandfather was the one who pushed me hard to go forward and achieve my dreams. I remember my mother telling me to wash utensils because all the girls around were washing utensils. And my grandfather coming there and scolding her, you better go study. So that was the support I got from him. I have literally been brought up in an environment where women stayed in parda system. And I have seen my mother doing parda, my grandmother being in a wheel, and all the ladies around covering their head. So it's not something which anybody taught me, But I was always very inquisitive from my childhood. I remember vaguely when I was 6 years old, I asked my mother that, why do you do parda from Dadaji? And she replied to me and said, it's a gesture of respecting your elders. So that's why I'm doing parda. And I was literally shocked to listen to her reply, and immediately I went to my father and I asked him, Papa, don't you respect Nanaji? And he was like, why are you saying that? You are not doing parda from Nanaji. You should be doing that. Because Mama is doing from grandfather, my Dadaji, and you should be doing it from my Nanaji. My grandfather was listening to all of this, and that very day, like I said, he was a progressive man. He told my mother to not cover her face. Because he brought her as a daughter, and not just somebody to cover her face. He knows that she respects him, and she should not be doing it. So there were many questions like this always storming in my brain, and I was labeled as a blunt girl, ill-mannered girl, somebody who was rebellious and always proactive in questioning the traditions we were born in. But it was not something I was grasping from my environment around, but they were coming from inside. Now, since this pressure of getting married was building up on me, I definitely didn't want to get into an arranged marriage. And I definitely wanted to marry the boy of my choice. So when there was too much of pressure, I saw this notification of 14 women officers entry in the Indian Army. I filled that form, and luckily my family supported me. So I got SSB Allahabad as my SSB center. Now they term SSB Allahabad as a rejection center. Likes like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and Amitabh Bachchan were rejected from there. I was scared. There was no one in my family from Indian Army. There was no one to guide me. But I was not, willing to join Indian Army because of patriotism. I'll be very open here. I was not a patriotic person. Virat Bharat Mahan, so I want to join Indian Army. But I was choosing it as an escape mechanism because I wanted to run away from those frequent thoughts in my mind to get married soon. So I went there to SSB Allahabad, and I decided when I went there that there was a line written there that if you have it in you, you will make it. I didn't know, what do I have it in me? Then in that moment I thought that I'm going to be just me, what I am. I went for my SSB, and to everyone's surprise, I was recommended in my first attempt. I also made it to the All India merit list, and then I went for my military training. And I became the first girl in my village. Well, I would like to say the first person in my village to become an Indian Army officer. Thank you. Well, but I didn't know that I'm going from one hell to another. I had no idea how the Indian Army training was about to be. I was not in NCC. I was a fragile girl who couldn't even run 100 meters. And when I went for my SSB, I was a little overweight because after college holidays, I ate a lot. So I had no idea. And I went there. When I went there, all I wanted to do was escape and find a platform which will save me from marriage. And all my life I have heard that you are a girl, so don't do this, don't do that. But day one, I still remember those words are implanted in my brain and I can't forget them. I stood there and there were two instructors, our two drill ustad, I would like to name them, Murthy Saab and Gulshan Saab. They came there and they told us, you are not a girl or a boy here. You are here to become an officer, and an officer has no gender. Those words just shook me. And I knew that my search for a place wherein they don't see you as a girl and a boy was over. I knew that this is where I wanted to be. This is where they're going to treat me equal for the qualities I have and not just because I'm a girl. I went ahead and suddenly the thought of considering it as an escape mechanism vanished. And I felt that this is my true calling. I had a short stint in the Indian Army. I got released in the year 2016. And I might not be wearing the uniform today, but I feel that I still wear its spirit. Now, the training started. It was very grilling, too much on me. I started feeling like a robot. There were days when I cried badly. I wanted to run away. They chopped up my hair, and I was a katora curd girl who literally looked like a boy and was literally sunburned in the Chennai weather. When my parents came to meet me in between, they literally couldn't recognize me and they asked me, "Who's this boy?" My grandmother was, she's not my granddaughter, she's a boy. I look so bad. But it was a part of the training. You have to go through that grilling process to become an officer. But while everything was going all well, there was something which was waiting for me to stop me. While climbing a rope up, the grip of my hands loosened up and I fell down. The moment I fell down, I felt a sharp shooting pain on my bums. They gave me a painkiller, it subsided, and I continued with my other running and all other physical activities. But there was still a constant pinching pain every single day which I felt. Now one fine day while I was running, I collapsed. I couldn't move up. They took me to the military hospital and we found out that my left side of the pelvic bone has completely fractured. Now the military hospital doctor told me that you have two choices. Either you continue the training and you will never be able to become a mother because your pelvis won't be able to hold the weight of a growing baby. Now second is, you go on a sick leave, come back and try your shot. Now there were so many thoughts in my brain at that time. I was completely shattered. And I could hear those voices. बड़ा चले थे लड़की को पढ़ाने, देखा ट्रेनिंग ही छोड़ के भाग गई, बड़ा बनेगी अफसर, बड़ा पढ़ाया लड़की को, कहा था ना कुछ नहीं कर पाएगी. Those thoughts were there always on my brain. And I thought that, no, I can't give up at this moment. And I remembered that when it gets difficult, that's the time when you need to breathe. That's the time when you need to stand strong for yourself. So I asked the doctor to give me a sick leave and I'll come back. After 21 days, I came back to the academy. And of course, a pelvic bone fracture cannot heal in 21 days. We all know that. It started healing, but it was not completely healed. And I remember this incident which happened. I had to clear my last 5 kilometers run with weight on my back. And I was standing there with other cadets. And there was this instructor who came to us. And she asked everyone, how many of you will come in the excellent enclosure? I was like, me. She said that, Cadet Ritu, come on. Don't say that. Don't have impossible dreams. You better pass. You can never come in excellent, huh? You better pass. I fear that you might fail only. These demotivating words shook me so badly in my heart that I told myself, आज तो कुछ भी हो जाए रुकना नहीं है. I popped in a painkiller. I started running the race and I knew that today is a do and die situation. I kept running. There were times when I had pain. There were times when I thought that चल ना छोड़ कोई बात नहीं यार धीरे हो जा. But I didn't stop. And to my own surprise, with a fractured pelvis bone, I was standing in the excellent enclosure. Now, this instructor came and she couldn't even look into my eyes. And she just said that, well done. That very day, I realized that our human body can literally stand anything. All we have to do is just train this mind. If we are strong from here, we can do anything. Now, years passed and I applied this mechanism in everything which came to my way. I became a mother. I have 2 lovely daughters and I had 2 C-sections and I suffered from postnatal depression. My abdominal muscles separated during my second pregnancy. There were so many hurdles I faced in my personal life, but I kept training my brain and my brain became my biggest weapon. And I thought that with this weapon, nobody can stop me. But year 2022, on my birthday, I was tested COVID positive. Now you might say, what's so special in that? We all got COVID, right? But after having COVID, I started experiencing brain fogging. Now, after the brain fogging episodes, it converted into anxiety attacks and panic attacks. Now, the strong girl which I was suddenly started developing claustrophobia. I was fearing to go in lifts. I felt claustrophobic in a room. And I used to have heart palpitations and I felt that I'm going to die. There was a time when I had to catch a flight to Bombay for an important event. And just because I panicked, because I felt that how I'm going to travel in that aeroplane, I didn't take my flight. It was a very important event. My family started questioning and they were like, what happened to our brave girl? There were people who mocked me and said, oh, she's doing it for attention. There were people who said, oh, you are an army officer now, you did that tough training. How can you be so mentally weak, getting anxiety and panic attacks? But it was a COVID outcome which happened with many people. Somehow I kept working on and I thought that nothing is going to happen with me. Now, to take a break from all the stress which was happening around this time, we went for a family vacation. And while coming from that vacation, I got another panic attack. We were in the car at that time, and this time the panic attack was so bad that I literally closed my eyes because I couldn't take it anymore. The moment I opened my eyes, I couldn't recognize my husband. I couldn't recognize my own daughters. I had a memory loss. Now you might have seen in Bollywood movies having a memory loss, how they show in a flowery manner. It was definitely not flowery. It was the most horrific event of my life. A panic attack converting into a memory loss. My subconscious knew that there's someone close to me, but I couldn't recognize them. All I could do was cry, cry and cry. And this feeling led to another series of panic attacks. I was scared of the sky. I was scared of the moon. I saw my hands and I was like, are they really my hands? I looked myself in the mirror and I cried because I couldn't recognize who I was. I was looking at my childhood pictures and I didn't know who's this girl. The panic attacks multiplied because of the feelings which I'm having. And there was no one to tell me what's happening to me. I went to a therapist, they told me you're having depression. But I was like, this is not depression. I'm definitely not depressed. So people must know that there is a difference between anxiety, panic orders and depression. People consider everything as depression. So some of the things could be because of the stresses we take in life. Some of the things could be because of hormonal changes. So we should never negate that something is happening like this to anyone. And people negated this for me because they thought that I was always a brave girl, and a brave girl like me, such strong-headed woman, can never have a mental health disorder. But I did have that. Now, I searched on Google what's happening to me. Why am I scared of the sky? Why am I having memory loss? What's happening? Because there was something inside me, my subconscious, which was telling me that you know these people, but you don't know who they are. Now, I came across a video of someone wherein I got to know that it is called an anxiety-based disorder called depersonalization. So, when the panic attacks are really bad, our brain automatically shuts itself down so as to save itself from another pressure. So, during the panic attack, my brain shut down. And because my brain was shut down, I had a memory loss. Now, the brain, which I thought was my biggest weapon, now was my biggest enemy. And I didn't know what to do. Because I have literally overcome all my hurdles in the life with a weapon called my brain. But now it was against me. Now what solution do I have? Then the only thing left with me was to just breathe. I had suicidal thoughts. I'll be very open. I wanted to die. Not die. I would say I wanted to stop existing. My consciousness was floating somewhere and I don't know where my consciousness is. There was a mirror wall between me and the world. And I just couldn't cross that wall. Then, with the love and support of my family, initially they didn't understand, but they started realizing that there is something serious with her, she's not like that. I went to therapists, but that was of no help. I didn't want to take medicines, so I deliberately chose not taking medicines because I felt that I can deal with it. Then I realized that there is only one truth in this world, and that's called love, nothing else. I literally called every single person in my life and said sorry to them. And all I started doing was loving everybody around without any expectations. I started going to parks, I started feeding dogs, I started interacting with little squirrels, I started interacting with trees, and somehow being with nature made me feel calm. I started meditating. And in that moment, there was this sense of calmness I felt. I felt that there is a spiritual awakening probably inside me, which wants to tell the world that there is nothing more than just love. And all you need to do is give love, because if you give it, it will come back to you. Eventually, I started healing. My memory started coming back. I started getting connected to people again. This was a very tough phase of 6 months. I gave up on my social media. I stopped working at that time, and I started focusing on myself. And after this episode, I realized that you might be having a stronger brain, but with time, as and when the life continues, you have to rewire it according to the circumstances. I literally rewired my brain. And standing here, right now in this moment, I can luckily say that even today, right now, my brain is my biggest weapon. So, thank you so much. And I want every one of you to please be compassionate with anyone going with mental health issues, because it's not a stigma with the future or the younger generations, it's a reality. So embrace each other, love each other, and if somebody comes to you and talks about their mental health, just do one thing. Just give them a tight hug. Thank you. Jai Hind.